Just like that, we are live. What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, if you're LeBron James. But we have a nice little day today, news-packed day so far, because we are still in the middle of earnings season. We're going to talk about the different earnings we got yesterday after the close, some more this morning, some more coming this week. Of course, the biggest news headline of the day, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi traveling to Taiwan. As much as China does not like that, we will talk about exactly what this means for different Chinese stocks, for different semiconductor stocks. You know, we're talking NVDA, AMD getting ready to report today as well. So lots of news catalysts for AMD and different semi stocks. I do have my main man, David Green, hanging out with me backstage. So here in a few minutes, we will bring David on, do some live trading with David. And I think if you guys are lucky, he may even let a few lucky folks into his room at some point, because I think last week he was doing the boot camp, but maybe this week you guys will get lucky. Otherwise, we will be talking, of course, any stocks, any trades you guys are watching. Let me know in the chat, and we can check those out too. We do have some headlines from the sports world as well, some of those crossing over in the public markets, kind of some crossover there. But without further ado, let's go ahead, roll that intro, and bring Mr. Green on.
This is Benzinga Live. Spencer Israel and producer AB. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Someone told me buy high, sell higher.
Let's get Matt Hammond on the show to talk some IPOs. Jake Wojacek from Trend Spider. We have a
breaking news. Alrighty, guys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring my man DG David Green, hailing from the great state. Well, I don't know if I can go that far. Hailing from the state of Florida. Let's bring him on.
Mr. Yes, Green. Hailing from the, let's say state of Florida.
Let's say state. Let's say state.
Good morning, everybody. What's shaking my bacons? Good to be back with you guys from last week, as Aaron said, was my boot camp.
So speaking of that,
visitors, before we leave this week, I will invite everybody who is listening to come join us for the rest of this week and hang out and watch us trade live.
I was just going to say, speaking of the state of Florida, I just realized anytime I see one of those crazy news stories, headlines that says, you know, Florida man does this, Florida man fights alligator. I didn't know that was about you, David. I'm just putting that together. Those are all about you, huh?
Yes, 100%. I hardly leave my house, Aaron, so.
I wouldn't leave my house either if I lived in Florida. All right, I got your charts pulled up. We're looking at the S&P 500 right here.
Yes.
410. We're hanging out at the 410 level. 410.
Exactly. Yeah, this morning was it was pretty. I don't know. I call it silly with this whole Pelosi thing. As she was flying there and getting closer, the market was going down like something was going to happen. Right. That was right around whatever this was. Let me see what time that was. Right around 10 o'clock when she was over land, and there was all sorts of rumors going on that something bad might happen. A ridiculous reason to sell the market off, and obviously we rallied significantly from there. But it was pretty funny to be watching this morning.
I see some pissed off Floridians in the chat. You guys know I'm just kidding. I'm from Missouri. I can't talk.
I've been here 6 years. I love it down here.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. It's the best.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't got to pay taxes. We know why you love it, David.
You don't have to pay state taxes.
Yeah, I know. Then they get you on the vehicle sales and the property taxes and whatnot.
Everything's more expensive. Insurance, yada yada yada. If you're not talking about HKD, yeah.
Well, we have HKD. So this is a stock that IPO'd about 2 weeks ago, and if you would have bought it at the IPO, you'd be up like something like 4,000%. I think it IPO'd at $15, went up to what was it, what did it get up to after hours
first
yesterday?
Day was 12 to 19. That was the first.
Okay.
Day. 12 to 19.
And what are we trading at right now?
$182 today.
9, 10. I mean, yeah, this thing is crazy. This thing is nutty. The other one that I saw running today, APDN. Did you see this one, Dave?
What was it? We were trading the AMTD, which apparently is hooked up to HKD somehow. No, this was $1. I think this one was $1 this morning and ran up to $14. Something like that. Yeah, this is a $3 stock that ran up to $14 this morning. So we,
So
we
so
were
this
trading a little bit of that one pre-market and got a couple of decent trades out of it earlier. All right, what's the one you're talking about?
APDN.
APDN. Yeah, there you go, 64 cents. Wow.
Up to above $2, a little 200% runner today. I think this was one of those potential monkeypox plays, which I was telling you guys on the show the other day. I don't think monkeypox is gonna be a big deal like COVID was or anything like that, or we're gonna be talking about it months from now. No, but that doesn't mean some of these different stocks can't catch a nice little catalyst and run.
Yeah, SIGA has been one that's been linked to the monkeypox for a while. Got down to 12, spiked up to freaking 22 yesterday. So there's definitely money to be made in these things, no question about it.
Yeah, so if you want to
100%.
be a nice, you want to be a quick news trader, you want to be looking at some of these catalysts and try to trade some of these monkeypox names, sure, go ahead. Just know if you're getting into a name that's already run up 100, 200%, you're setting yourself up for a potential quick
That's
loss.
just it, Aaron. With any of these things, trade them, right? They're trading vehicles.
Although I will say, David, if I see a stock go up 100% for no reason, I'd rather bet that it's going to go up another 100% than it's going to go down immediately. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people see that and they say, "Oh, what's this stock up from 90 cents to 250? I'm going to short it." And the next thing you know, it's from 250 to 5, and then 5 to 8, and then it starts to go down, you know? So it's not always as easy as, okay, I'm seeing this thing up, I'm going to short it, because oftentimes those things continue to run.
Look, most of these things are not available to short. AMTD was not. AMTD I think was today, but most times when these things do these big giant moves, you can't short them. AMTD, still not shortable. So there you go.
So
You can borrow. Yeah, HKD is $3,000 for 100 shares to borrow. Exactly right. So you can borrow these things for a price, but again, they're trading vehicles, right? And if you're lucky enough to learn how to trade and you get into these things, look at AMTD, right? It gave us the signal at 8:30 when it got to a 90 RSI that was about the top of it. You guys remember we talk about our far from moving average trade and we get over an 80 RSI. Well, this had a 90 RSI. And, it told us when it was going to start going down from here. And it made a high of 14. And the first real spot to buy it was down here at 841. And then you got a $1.50 bounce. And now we haven't even looked at it in 2.5 hours. But yeah, they are trading vehicles. The reason why HKD, part of the reason why it's doing what it's doing is because nobody can short it. There's no volume in it. If you look at the spread in the stock, it's impossible to trade unless you're just, totally out of your mind. And it will not end well. I don't know when it's going to end, but yeah, look at the spread. It's 100 shares by 100 shares, and there's a $45 spread in the stock. So, I don't know who's trading this thing, but look, if they're making a shitload of money, God bless them, right? It's all good, but not something we're ever going to touch. Ever, ever, ever. I saw someone talk about the cruise lines this morning. And again, I think someone in the comments mentioned it, right? You know that the market's crazy when cruise lines are going up. Bottom line, a trade is a trade, right? Nestor in our room pointed this out as a trend trade down here at $36 early this morning. Well, it's up $1.34 from there. All right, that's a nice little trade. It never even threatened to go below this 36 level, and you're up $1 and change on it. So again, I don't care. I don't care what stocks are. Half the times we don't know what stocks do when we're trading them. It's all about technicals, and if there's money to be made, we're going to trade the stocks. You guys want to talk about longer term stuff? We absolutely can. But for us, it's all about trading, and when we get technicals that set up, that's when we move to action. Who said we've made millions the last couple of weeks? Someone said millions.
Hey, I'm not gonna
a lot better. Born to be free.
So then this is what I'm curious about, David, is seeing some of these names, seeing some of these, HKDs, seeing some of these, because I don't know if you remember, but I remember back when the markets were real crazy in like May 2020, you'd have these pre-market movers every day, these random stocks that were up 100+%. Is that a sign to you that we're seeing some of these 100% runners? Like, oh, maybe we're getting some money off the sideline, some volatility. Like, what does that indicate to you? Anything?
I mean, usually And again, because we are where we are in the market, usually when you see a lot of these things coming, it's marking a top in the market. Because when
Really?
people start speculating in all this garbage, that means they're just buying anything, right? Look, I don't know if it's garbage or whatever. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, when you see a lot of this stuff happening on a daily basis, it's usually not a good sign. But the bottom line is, because we are where we are in the market, I don't think it means anything. I think they're individual basis. These things are, just wackadoodle, and they're going to do what they want to do. Born to be Free, you had the technical analysis, knock on wood, has been really, really good for a bit. And we've had a good trading time lately. It's been really, really good. So I'm glad you guys, if you're using the pivot points and stuff and some of the things that we gave you, are able to take advantage of that. It's good. We got a couple of orders out. Let me just go over them. QQQs we were trying to buy, if we pull back to this 200, not 65 EMA, but we're not doing that, so we'll cancel. The video we wanted to try to buy on a pullback, but again, that's rallied up. We had bids down here around the 183 level. So let's talk about where we are in the market overall, right? And we've had a huge run up. So let's go right to our daily chart, guys and girls, because I always like to start here. And if you look, and the spiders were right in the middle of everything. And I think the fact that we're kind of hanging around here is pretty good, Aaron. The fact that we haven't given back a lot of the recent gains is pretty good. So we're kind of hanging around here. Our first real support is down around 403, which I thought we might, maybe start getting to this morning. We hit 407 and change this morning. You guys know we were lucky enough to get the bottom when we got in the weekly at 363. So I'm looking at our weekly levels again and stuff, and we have a bunch of stuff now. I'm going to just say like 415, 416. Our weekly level is 414.40. Our monthly level is up around, 417. Our daily level is up around the 417 level. So let's just say 417 to be safe, everybody. And, that's a gigantic level that I think, and again, who knows what's going to happen. If we can get above that, this is our monthly chart, right? So if we can get above this let's call it 417, 418, whatever, somewhere around there, we're trying to reverse this whole monthly downtrend, right? So if we can get a close above that 417, 418 level, it'll be the first time in a year that we're closing. Well, let's see, how many months is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just call it a year. It's close enough that we close back above all the resistance levels. So that's what we need to see, above 420 to really get us going again. I think everyone's cool with the interest rates, right? I mean, the market's telling us we're cool with that. We're probably going to get at least another 75 points this year, which again, the market seems to be okay with, and we'll see what happens. But it's constructive that we're doing what we're doing now. How long it lasts, who knows? Everything can change in 2 minutes here, right? So we'll see. That's where we're at longer term.
Yeah, I mean, I think longer term, it seems like right now, at least, David, like a few weeks ago, if you go back to the end of June, people were still very highly, had high conviction that, the bottoms aren't in, we're going back down. And now that we're about 6 weeks past those bottoms, you have more people saying, maybe we aren't going to go all the way back to 3,600 or whatever, maybe 3,800 is our new level.
Yeah, I mean, if I look now, I'm going back to the weekly chart. So we got that 403, and then we got 400. So, if we broke 400 again, and this is all weekly where we, found the 363 bottom. If we break 400 again, then I'd start to get nervous again that maybe we start turning back. Again, this is all technical. I'm just looking technical, right? So 400 would be a big level for us to hold now if we started turning back down again on a weekly basis. A close below 400 would not be good. So again, we'll see what happens. Look, I know in a year or two from now, we're going to be at all-time highs again, and we always are. We always do. If we can get, so what's left? What's left that really is in front of us, right? We're halfway through earnings season. Earnings for the most part have been, I would say, okay, right? We really haven't seen any stocks have that gigantic bad reaction that we had, last quarter. Some of them aren't doing as well. I think Roku had a big bop down or whatever it was when their earnings came out, right? If I'm not mistaken. But that's recovered a lot of it already too, right? Yeah, let's go to Roku. Yeah, I mean, Roku earnings came out. It went from 86 to 62, right? and we've recovered most of that now also. So I think things are better on the earnings front. So what's ahead of us? We got a little interest rates, and we got maybe Taiwan and China, and obviously we got Putin. Those are the things we got to get through now, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are still a lot of these things that have kind of calmed down, whether you're talking about, China lockdowns or COVID lockdowns in China, whether you're talking about inflation. These are still problems out there. Like, they just aren't as scary, I guess, as they were 6 weeks ago when we had a little bit more uncertainty. But I think there are a few things, specifically on the inflation front, looking at like gas prices dropping and stuff, that are giving some investors some confidence that, okay, some of these problems we've been watching and have been worried about are starting to alleviate. That doesn't mean they're not still issues. That doesn't mean we're not still focused on them, but maybe they're starting to get better instead of getting worse.
Yeah, and the market is always forward-looking. Again, the only thing we really hate is uncertainty. You tell us what's in front of us and how bad it's going to be, we can get around that. But uncertainty. Hey, look, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination we're out of the woods and we're going to see new highs by the end of the year. I hope I'm wrong, right? I certainly hope I'm wrong, because we've been dipping our toes in on the way down, and we added a bunch at that 363 level. We'll see what happens. Someone in my room just brought up a great point, right? Now a lot more people can get into Google because it's much more affordable after the split. Amazon, a lot of these stocks have done recent splits, which is kind of good for retail peeps, because now people can afford to get in these things if they like them longer term. And I like all of them longer term. All right, we got any questions about stocks, guys and girls? Anyone want to talk about anything? Aaron, you want to talk about anything? Gave you the overviews of the market.
Yeah, let's let the chat throw some tickers in that they might be watching today. I know a lot of people have been watching some of these crazy runners.
I'll tell you one thing, guys and girls. Okay, it is summertime, right? I don't care what's going on around us. This is when most of the big guys who are running, big money are in the Hamptons, and they tell their people, don't do anything till I get back in September. That's usually what happens during the summertime. We are just quiet. And usually by 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, I mean, we've been getting out of here at 1:30, for most of the last couple of weeks, because the market's just dead. And I don't want to sit here and chase things. And, when you start trying to invent things that are setting up, there's no volume in anything. It's just summertime. And, this is what summertime is. All right, what do we got? You catch me up, Aaron.
All right, well, let's do it. So I see
Snap first.
Yeah, let's do Snap first. Snap's been kind of quiet since its report, right? Still trading right around $10. That's basically where it was at after its report, and it hasn't really moved much since then. There are some other names I'm seeing in the chat. Baba, I know, reports later this week.
Snap real quick, guys and girls. Until Snap has some kind of catalyst, I would not touch Snap. It's got to have at least another good earnings report or something. Stay away from that one for now, in my opinion. All right, go ahead, Aaron. Let's talk about some real stocks.
Some real stocks. PayPal. Michael wants to look at PayPal. This is a good one because I think PayPal is getting ready to report either today or tomorrow or something.
We'll go weekly to get the earnings. Yeah, tonight at 4 o'clock. Cool. So, guys, if anyone wants and wants to come into the room after we finish, I'll give you the link. And maybe we'll hang out and trade earnings tonight if there's enough good ones. All right, so let's look what PayPal is on a weekly chart. Check this out, guys and girls. So we're trying to get above this trend line that has been in place. Look at this on a weekly chart, right? Since August of last year, this thing has been in a downtrend. And we're right now just about exactly on it, right about 88, right? So weekly, we got room to 108. Let me just chuck a little. Yeah, daily, we cleared a lot of nice stuff on the daily. And monthly, again, we're trying to clear this little monthly level right here. Guys, can someone give me the expected move in PayPal? Someone in my room for tonight. So we're at a pretty big level in this, right? If earnings are good and we can get going from here, I could see 108. And again, the only way I would ever play this is with options, because we don't buy or short stocks going into earnings. The expected move is $8 tonight in PayPal. So, let's see. And again, if I was going to do anything, let's take a look at the options. If you're bullish on it, let's just take a look. I'd probably be looking at like 100 call, right? Up $12 from here. Let's see where we're at. They're going to be jacked up tonight because of the earnings are coming out. No, I mean, 100 calls, it's $1. That's not bad. You invest $100 if you think they're going to be good. I would never be long or short the stock going into earnings. At least if you do the options, Aaron, your risk is what you put into the option, right? So I think it's at a very big point. If we can get going from here on the weekly chart, I think it could be okay. But again, I don't do anything except options going into the earnings.
Yeah. I mean, so wait. So if you had to play this on either side, I missed it. Sorry, bullish or bearish? You don't want to make a call?
I mean, look, I'm willing to make a call. Here's the gig, okay? If I was in this long going in, my stop order would be $82. That is the weekly level on a weekly trend on a weekly chart. If bullish, I think we could see 100. All right, you want to twist my arm? I'd lean towards bullish. There you go.
I think me too. I think this whole earnings season, you've had such low expectations that what's the point in buying puts on a stock that's already down to 80% over the last year, right? It's like if I was gonna buy puts on this, I would have wanted to buy it before it went down 80%, not after.
Exactly.
But I don't really know a lot about, I don't study, PayPal's business model and how they differ from Square. So I have no clue if we should expect a strong quarter or not. I just know from expectations wise, if PayPal puts out a okay or decent quarter, the stock could run just because expectations have been so low.
And look where the stock is and where it was, right? So, I would be leaning towards the long side. But what we'll do is, okay, this is how I prepare for earnings. I'll give you guys a mini lesson. If this average move in this is supposed to be $9, I'll put a bid down $10 and an offer up $10. Very, very small, just to let us know if it gets to those levels. And then we'll look to trade it based on our regular technical analysis. So I don't have to, again, we are always reactive rather than proactive. I don't have to have a horse in a race before they come out. And I'll just look to trade it based off that. If you're forcing me to pick one way or another, I would buy a call rather than a put. That's all. Yeah, we got the I see a bunch of Moderna tonight also.
I believe Moderna sometime this week. GeoVX is one of these smaller stocks that's been running with monkeypox. I don't think anything in GeoVX's earnings is going to reflect the monkeypox surge. So I wouldn't trade that one at all. But you do.
Exactly correct. No, their earnings are going to be what they always are. Probably they're not going to make money. There's nothing in the earnings that's going to be a catalyst for the stock to go higher. It's only all this monkeypox stuff. At least that's me. Anyway, I would not be even looking into monkeypox. Myrna, $11 expected move. Okay, thank you. That's it. Have a good class. Born to be free. Seaga is another monkeypox play, right? Yeah, actually, that's the one we've been watching. Go to a daily chart because this has some good trading opportunities, and it's not a crazy stock. I mean, it went from 14 to 22. Trades 30 million shares a day, so it's been something we've been keeping our eyes on lately. Do I like it anywhere here? Needs to hold 1780 for a day trade, but not something I'm going to look to do now, especially during lunch when there's no volume out. But it's been a decent trader, that one. All right, what else do we want to look at?
Let's do some other stocks reporting earnings this week, just to see if potentially the charts are at any.
You want to look at Myrna?
Let's look at Moderna. Let's look at AMD reports tonight. Starbucks.
AMD is a good one, yeah. All right, Starbucks and Myrna. So Myrna has an $11 expected move. Always when I'm looking at earnings, guys, right to the daily chart. Let's see where we're at. Right. So sitting in the middle at 163. We have our 200 EMA on a daily at 181, which is 17 points away. So that's where I'll probably throw a little marker out. Almost double the expected move. 154, 155 is not even the expected move. I need lower than that. 135 would be a good spot if we spike down there. So what's a big spot for this to get above? Right, here's our weekly chart. 170 would be a big spot on the upside. That gives us maybe 185. So again, this one's rounding down, up now. And again, I would not play this with anything but options if I was going to play it. Yeah, this 185 level, if we look, that's monthly too. So there's your big giant level on the upside. 185. 185 would swing this thing back up. And 116, God forbid, is a monthly level. That would be a nice place to start buying some. So kind of sitting in the middle of everything. We'll see what it does. SoFi. All right. We haven't been in SoFi in a long time. Right? Earnings are coming out. I don't know. This is a Dudsville right now. It's probably worth owning below $5 long term, but I don't see another one where the earnings I don't think are going to be a big catalyst. Maybe you get a bouncy bounce, but SoFi is just a long-term investment if you like it. You put it away, you forget about it. How about AMD? AMD is a good one because we got earnings coming out tonight.
Not only earnings, you've got all this Taiwan Pelosi stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that's probably more important for the stock right now than the earnings.
It may be. Exactly right. What's our expected move in AMD, guys, tonight? It's probably not a lot. Between 7 and 10, something like that. SoFi needs to get to $8 so I can abandon ship. May the force be with you, Sludge. Go get him. Yeah, AMD's not that volatile. $7. Let's go to the daily and see where we are. All right, so our daily 200 is 101. I would not even look there, but that would be a nice level to get above, that 101 level. Weekly, we're right on it now. Ooh. Monthly, we're right on it now, too. We're at a really big level in AMD. Didn't their earnings came out last time? They were really good, if I remember. Right back here, yeah. Earnings came out back here in March, whatever that was. The stock was at 86 and gave us a run up $22. So this is, all right. This is one I'm kind of bullish on. Kind of bullish on AMD because we are at several really big levels. And if they come out with a quarter that they did last time, I think we can, get a nice pop out of this. Again, options would be the only way I play it. So let's take a look. See if we got anything interesting. We're trading at 100. Let's look at like 110 calls. Not bad. You got 3 days and there's 63 cents. That's not bad at all. Again, guys, I'm not giving financial advice. I don't tell anybody what to do with their money. Yada, 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 yada. But if I was playing this one, I'd probably pay, I don't mind paying 50, 60 cents up $10. The most you can lose is 60 cents. So it's set up if the numbers come out for it to go higher. Now, that doesn't mean they can't come out and go down 20 points. That's why I would only do an option, but it looks decent to the upside. Again, that's an arm twister. So that's what I would look for in that one. What else? I have a good chunk of AMD calls bought a few days ago. Hey, okay. Yeah, and that will affect NVIDIA, and NVIDIA will trade off AMD tonight 150%. AMD's had a nice run up too. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to check in on see if there are any other stocks reporting this week that maybe we want to check out that we haven't already. This is an interesting one this afternoon. I haven't looked at this stock in a while, Dave. I don't know if you've ever in this one. Airbnb, ABNB.
We were in this. I was in it on the IPO. That's the last time I probably looked at it until I was able to sell it.
So about a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
more.
I think
Maybe
we
2
were
years
in the
ago.
IPO at like 70, and we sold like 150, something like that.
That's not bad.
When we were able to sell it, yeah. Let's go right to the daily. Now, that's another one. A lot of these charts look the same because the market has rallied up so nicely, right? But from a technical level, above 113, that was your resistance. Boom, we got above it. Let's go weekly. Just getting over the weekly right here at 115. Let's go monthly. All right, so room to 130 there. Room to 130 there. And a room there. Again, setting up. It looks a lot better technically than it did a couple of months ago. So another one, I would look options if I was going to do anything. What is 3:30? Oh, that's 4:30. That's Central Pacific time. What's it, guys? Give me the expected move in Airbnb. We might have to hang around and trade earnings tonight, or leave early and come back. Yeah, they sold NVDA. They actually lost money.
MD in the chat saying Airbnb expected plus or minus $10.
$10, okay.
So about 8-9%.
Yep. Yeah, another one. It's got room to 130 on the upside if they're okay. How many people in my room are going to want to hang around and trade earnings tonight? Give me a synopsis.
I saw this last week. I think this was from FactSet. That so far, I think we've had about, or when I saw the number, we had a little under half of the S&P 500 companies report. I want to say like 35%. And the number was like 70% so far. 7 out of 10 have beaten so far this quarter. So across the board, earnings have been pretty good. I don't know if we expect that to continue, or if, you know, potentially here on the back half there are some surprise misses. But all in all, things have been pretty good for earnings.
Yeah, and we got to think that that's the reason why the market has responded like this too, right? That was a big worry with everything that was going on and all the inflation and stuff, that they weren't going to be as good. And yeah, they have been. No question about it. And more importantly than that, you know, the guidance, not that it's been good, but it's probably been better than people expect. And, you know, there's no Armageddon out there, which a lot of people are worried about. You know, the inflation's so high. Can we pass these prices on to the consumer? You know, there's been a lot of stuff out there. So, yeah, it's been good. Look, the overall market has told us that it's been good. So that's it. Bottom line.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's where, you know, oh, here, I got the new updated. So this was from July 29th. So I think this was over the weekend. 56% of S&P firms have reported, 73% EPS beat rate, 6% blended earnings growth rate above 4% estimates back on June 30th. I don't even really know what that means. 66% revenue beat rate. Companies missing EPS estimates have been on average share price gain of 1.2%. So companies missing EPS estimates. So these are just the company have gone up an average of 1.2%, while the 5-year average is negative 2.4%. So that just shows that this environment, even with companies that are missing, some stocks are going up just because those expectations have been down. So keep that in mind if you're out here buying puts on companies like Airbnb. They could miss, and the stock can still be trading up a few percent after hours. Will it be up 20%? Probably not. But could it be up a couple percent just in case? And that would be showing that investors are sitting there saying, oh, things aren't as bad as we thought they were going to be. We knew things weren't going to be great, but hey, they aren't that bad. And so they're going in and buying it, even though it's not a blowout quarter.
Exactly. And never, ever, guys, when you're looking at earnings, trading earnings, whatever, I don't even care what the numbers are. The numbers don't mean anything, okay? The only thing that means anything is price action, right? Because I've had some people, when earnings come out, and they're like, how can this stock possibly go down when the earnings are good? And they make a trade based on that. It doesn't matter. I mean, it all depends on guidance. It depends on a million different things. But the only thing that matters when earnings come out is price action. That's it. Doesn't matter. Pins missed and went up. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. So don't get caught up in, you know, oh, this is supposed to be good, so I'm going to go in and buy the stock. No, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is what people do after the earnings come out and what they buy and sell. That's it. You know, we can look at our charts and like we looked at in AMD and a bunch of these other ones and see, okay, this looks good here. This looks good here. If I had to go one way or another, this way I'm going. But it doesn't mean, none of it means anything. All that matters is what happens once they release these numbers. That's
yeah,
it.
and then and sometimes even after they release the numbers. I remember one time I had a year ago, I had some calls on Microsoft going into earnings, and Microsoft released its numbers, and the stock went down. And then an hour later during the conference call, I think they gave some rosy guidance, and the stock ended up going up 5%. So I was sitting here like, oh my God, I lost all my money that I had on these calls. Next thing I knew, I waited an hour later and then it was up. So
yeah, I remember this. I remember the day it happened, right? It was like here, right? And it traded down to, I'm trying to see what it was. All I know is it was like 250 and change. And then I looked up, it was like 265.
I know,
like
it was crazy.
269. Right?
It was crazy. So bottom line, David, I mean, for anyone out there watching, if you're putting options trades out there, I mean, I say this all the time, I'll say it again. Like, if you're trading options into earnings, just look at it as a gamble. Look at it like you're going to the casino or buying a
Amen.
lottery ticket. Because even if you're right about the quarter, the stock can go the other way. I've had it happen to me before. I've seen it happen to a million other people where they're, oh my God, I was right. The quarter was terrible. And now the stock's up, or vice versa. The quarter was great, but the stock's down because everyone was expecting the quarter to be great. So just keep that in mind if you guys are trading earnings. If there are any stocks, like for me right now, I'm interested in Airbnb. I'm interested in owning Airbnb long term because I think it's an innovative business. They're doing things to truly disrupt the whole industry, the whole travel industry. There are only a few companies out there in my mind that really have the capability to disrupt the industry that they're in, and Airbnb is one of those. I'm gonna wait till after they report earnings to either buy this or not buy it, because if they're good and the stock's up 10% tomorrow and I decided to buy it, I know I'm buying a company that's strong and doing well, and I'm buying in strength, and I won't care that I miss out on that 10%. And if it's
Well, let me
terrible,
ask you this, Aaron. Is there a spot where you're comfortable owning Airbnb? Trading at $116. Is there a spot where you don't mind being long this no matter what the earnings are?
no matter what the earnings are, company news out the window, the spot I wouldn't mind owning at is our previous lows around, I guess, wherever we dipped to
86
down
bucks.
$86. Because if we are down $15 tomorrow, David, down to 100 because the company reports all these problems, I'm probably not going to want to buy it there. But then if we eventually get down to that bottom, maybe I'll start adding some there, just because we've had that bottom in there. But I think I would be dependent on what I hear from the company based on if I want to buy this long term or not right now.
All right, yeah, you have to. Because, I look at things like this, right? And here's an 85 put going out 45 days, right? So if I don't mind being long this stock, regardless of what the earnings are, I would sell an 85 put going out 45 days, and I start my position at $83, $83.50. That's how I would look at something like that. And we do sometimes.
But how much premium would I even get from that, from selling the put 45 days out?
You're getting like $1.50 on it.
Okay, so then you're saying start buying shares while selling the put,
No,
or just
here's what you do: you sell the put. Okay, you're going to be long at $83.50, let's say, if it starts going down
because of
right?
the 150 you're getting paid.
Because of the premium.
Okay,
So if you don't mind being long from $83.50 and lower, that's where you start. If it never gets there, you just collect the premium, and then you add to it at different prices long term. That's all I'm saying. Again, that's a way I like to. If I look at a stock where I want to get into something, I'll sell a put in it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't get there, and I collect the premium. If it does, then I want to start buying the stock anyway. We did this in cold the other day, KOLD, and I tweeted it out to everybody in the room, right? And when the stock got down to, I'll show you here. It was this day. It got down to like $12. This is the ETF for nat gas, right? So it got down to like $12, and everyone in my room, we decided I don't mind being long cold at $10 if it gets down there. So we sold a 10 put, and it was only 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out. We sold a 10 put for $1.20. So we would have been willing to get long the stock at $8.80, right? Well, the stock went up $5 from there, and the put we sold for $1.20 is worthless. So we made, $120 per contract, but I would have been willing to be long this thing starting at $8.80. So sometimes I will do that. Correct. We either get it at the price that we want it longer term, or we collect the premium. That's something I'll do a swing trade that way. And something anyway, that's my whole point in the Airbnb thing. If you wanted to get into a long-term trade, you can either collect some premium or, you get in at the price that you want to get in. That's all.
Yeah, I was just curious how you got that 83.5 number, because we were talking about 85, but then I realized it was because you get paid the 150 for selling the put. So then if you're buying it at 85, you're really only paying 83.5, right?
Exactly right.
Beautiful.
All right, Alex, I like it. Double top Microsoft 276.60. That's also our 200 EMA. Throw out a little order. Expedia too. All right. Well, Expedia will probably trade around the same way as that one. 276.65. With you, Alex, up there. All right, you got anything else, Aaron? I know we're running a little late here.
No, I mean, I think that basically it for today. I mean, I appreciate you staying on a couple minutes longer.
My pleasure. There's nothing going on. So we're going to take lunch after this for an hour and probably get out of here early and then come back for earnings. Only
Yeah.
thing I got, guys, anyone who wants to come out, hang out in the room with us, where is it? What do I need? dgreen927 at yahoo.com.
Yep, I got it up on the screen. Just send an email to Dave9 or dgreen927 at yahoo.com. He'll get you in that room. Check it out. We've had a few people over here from Benzinga come check out the room and love it. So highly recommended.
Excellent, guys. Yeah, come in. You can hang out the rest of the week. I can't promise you a lot of action because it's dead, but whatever we do, we'll show you what we do, why we're doing it, and explain why we're doing it.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
All right,
Aaron.
David. Well, until next week, take care and stay green.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that was David Green. Go ahead and shoot him an email, dgreen927, if you want to go ahead and check out his room. Quickly, let's do some quick updates on the show. We do have, well, let's just do a quick overall market update. Your Qs up now on the day, up 0.45%. So nice little reversal for the Q. Similarly, the S&P 500, we are in the green, up 0.2%. And then your Dow Industrial Average is still down a little bit, down 0.24%. And that is because, well, let's see, it's not XLE. Is it XLF being bad today for Dow? No, I don't really know why the Dow is down. If someone's got some good answers out there, let me know. Quick notes. Hold on one second. All right. Let's go ahead and get my Benzinga Pro pulled up. All right, let me know in the chat what stocks you guys are watching. We are going to be talking a little bit more about this Nancy Pelosi deal, see what's going on there. I'm trying to find. Real quick. So we did. I don't know if you guys. Let me know in the chat if you guys have or have not tried your Benzinga Pro free trial yet. Because depending on what kind of traders you guys are, or if you guys are more like active traders or active investors, you may really want to check out Benzinga Pro. It's just a quick 2-week trial, pro.benzinga.com. And most free trials will ask you to put in a credit card so that if you forget to cancel it, they'll charge you. That's not how we do things. There's no credit card needed, so you can just sign up for that free 2-week trial. Pro.benzinga.com. Easy Mike wants to know, why is he in Tilray and why is it running? Pot stocks have been something that I've been, kind of just staying away from, because something you will learn as an investor is it's very, it's possible and it's problematic to be too early. My favorite example of this is, I don't even know if we can get the charts to go back this far. But if you look at a full stock chart of Apple and you go back, oh, it does work here. So if you, all right, we're looking at monthly charts of Apple here. And this is one of like my favorite things. It's kind of like a joke in investing, but like there's I forget when it was. So, okay, I think it was like if you would have bought Apple stock, and we're looking at monthly candles here. This is in 92. There's like a tweet or something that's like, if you would have bought Apple stock in 92, you would have sold it 3 years later for a loss of like 80%. Because think about this in today's world. If you buy Zoom or something at $100 and it goes down to 20, are you still holding it or are you going to sell it? So you can be too early. Like if you bought Apple in 93 and you were down, 80%, you were too early. And then again, if you bought it in 2000, look at this red candle. This is one monthly candle in September 2000, down 57% in just 1 month. And then the next month, it was down another 24%, and then another 15% after that, and then another 10% after that. So if you bought up here, this is all split adjusted, but $1.14 a share, and then it gets down to 30 cents a share, you were too early. Now, if you bought Apple down here in 02 and you held on to it for 20 years, now you're looking fine. You're looking great. You're looking dandy. But there is such a thing as being too early. And most times people don't have the strength, the fortitude to hold on through those losses. So they end up realizing their losses because they were too early on a trade. And I see that with pot, with different marijuana stocks. Why do I want to be invested in something that could still be years away from being federally legalized? Right? You're talking about investing in, and it's actually because you still have that federal legalization, or because it's still not federally legal, you have people that aren't able to even get into it. You have people that aren't institutional investors that aren't able to invest in it because of the problem of federal legalization. And so let me know, Easy Mike, what other pot stocks you guys are watching. And I know it's different. If you're looking at Tilray just as a trading vehicle versus an investment, that's completely different. But I'm personally just not interested in hitting these for long-term investments until I get some more confidence, until I get some more signs that we could really see. Added forward on the dip. I do want to. Okay, so I actually thought this was interesting. I want to pull this up because I don't know. This might be something that I just think is interesting and really isn't like that interesting to most people. But I personally, found this interesting. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this post. I hate LinkedIn makes it really hard to find people's posts. Here we go. Found it. Reminded me, who said they were trading Ford? All right, so this is an article from Auto Week. The most popular car on TikTok might surprise you. That's right. Ford's bare bones light duty Maverick pickup truck is the most popular car on the video creation and sharing app known as TikTok. With origins in lip syncing video app Musical.ly, the app has amassed 1 billion users monthly and become a hub for memes, viral trends, and branded content. Yada, yada. It's just talking about TikTok. So, revealed the most popular car models and brands on the app. The Ford Maverick topped the list with over 10.9 billion views and a range of media and consumer content. Scroll through Ford Maverick on the app and you'll find thousands of videos showing off their truck, but none from Ford itself. So this is showing that Ford, the actual company, is not putting out any of this advertising for the Maverick on TikTok, but it's all happening organically, which to me, if I were an investor in Ford, which I am, I would freaking love that Ford is getting all of this amazing free organic marketing and advertising on the most popular app and place to be for young people. That's showing me that people are going to be exposed to these Maverick pickup trucks before they're even at a driving age. So I'm not saying this is like as the most important bullish catalyst for Ford ever, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if in 2-3 years, like, you see the effects of this. You see the TikTok effect of, what being popular on TikTok can mean for a brand. And it's not just with the Maverick. Another Ford follows the Maverick closely with the predictably engaging Mustang garnering 10.7 billion views. And what's really interesting is that if you continue reading this article, we're talking about the Lamborghini Huracan or Huracan. The Lamborghini Huracan only has 4.1 billion views. So your Mustang is getting more than double the amount of views on TikTok than the Lamborghini is. Your Toyota Supra and Nissan GTR are taking the next spots after the Ford Mustang. So if I'm hearing that Mustang, the Toyota Supra, and the Nissan GTR are getting the most love on TikTok over the Lamborghinis and stuff, maybe that's showing me that people are interested in like watching videos of things of cars that maybe they see as more attainable, maybe things that they, have a potential of actually driving someday, a Supra versus something else. But sorry, and I'm seeing you guys talking about some other runners in the chat. So let's just oh, holy cow. I've been holding these Q calls that were down like all day, and now they're finally up. I might sell some of them up here. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty interesting. The fact that Ford is getting all of this love on TikTok. The content appears under these hashtags is reminiscent of early 2000s street racing videos, while featuring the more modern advent of POV reactions and model-specific fan edits. With the exception of the Huracan, each of these models has a lengthy enthusiast heritage that creates allure and buzz around each new version, particularly with the resurrected classics like the Supra. So I think that's where I think with some of these more luxury sports cars, your Lamborghinis, your Bugattis, you're not going to have these like cult classic fan favorites just because people don't have the money to have a lot of them. Whereas with something like the Mustang or something like the Supra, it is, interesting. And again, even with the Volkswagen Passat, a nice but unremarkable family sedan, the fact that the Volkswagen Passat has more views on TikTok than this Lamborghini is really interesting. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm not sitting out here reading this to you guys saying, okay, this is, everyone go buy Ford stock because they're popular on TikTok. I'm not saying that. I think, with something like popularity on TikTok, it'll take a lot of time and probably be impossible, using data to really figure out how does, what is the impact of this? What is the impact of Ford being popular on TikTok? Is it driving sales? Is it driving interest among young people? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But if it is, that's some information that as investors, this is like something that we're able to gather in real time and maybe take some takeaways from it saying, okay, where do people want to be advertising on right now? Well, TikTok has about 1 billion users monthly. And what about if you got free advertising on TikTok because people organically enjoyed your product and organically people were talking good about your product and you get this strong word of mouth marketing, which is stronger, which has a more sticky effect on the consumer, on the viewer than paid for promotion, right? It's going to be more important to me if I watch some random person's TikTok that has a Maverick talking about how great it is than if I watch a TikTok from Ford itself talking about how great the Maverick is. So I do think it's noteworthy. I think it's important to look at some of these trends, and maybe it's not just cars. Maybe there are other things we can look at what's trending on TikTok and seeing, what young people are doing to help us try to determine, maybe help us predict what are the trends of the future going to be. Maybe that trend of the future is that the Ford Maverick is the sexiest thing on social media because people don't care about having a Lamborghini or a Corvette or maybe, whatever it is. And you see these things kind of change over time, right? Like if you look at something like NFTs on TikTok, if you took NFTs on TikTok and you looked at the TikToks being posted about NFTs, while NFTs were going up, I'm sure that content looks a lot different than when they start to go down. And so maybe, as humans, as we are being more and more socialized by our social media platforms, people's thought patterns and people's behaviors really being determined by our social media, we can probably learn some stuff from this. Not a fan of stuff found on the road dead. I don't know what that means. Amazon uses Rivian. I'm confused. Amazon was a big investor in Rivian. I think they sold out most of their stake. What up, Mr. Brown? Nice to see you hanging out, Nick. So, Nick, we were just talking about, surprisingly, Ford is the most popular car on TikTok right now. And what I'm talking about is I'm curious of investors, how much should we care about this? it's certainly a potential that down the road the popularity on TikTok leads to more sales among young people, but we don't know that. We don't know that. We won't know that until we get more data. But I do certainly think it's interesting, and as a Ford shareholder, I'm stoked. I'm pumped to see the fact that Ford is getting such such proficient and free marketing on TikTok. Let's do another quick update on the latest on what's going on with this Nancy Pelosi Taiwan thing. So I will say, shameless plug, Will Ripley. He's a CNN correspondent. I know. Say what you want about CNN. But he actually is a graduate of my former school, University of Missouri Journalism School. So I've been following him on Twitter for a while, and he lives in Taiwan like full time covering this stuff. So he has been someone that I've been going to a lot for this coverage. But then also, Reuters is always pretty decent in international coverage. But this is what we've been watching. Let's go ahead and pull up. This is a Reuters article that they've been updating. So we have Pelosi arrived in Taiwan late on Tuesday on a trip she was intended to express American solidarity with the Chinese claimed island, the first such visit in 25 years. So we'll just do a quick breakdown if you're wondering why people even care about Taiwan, or why we care about Taiwan, or why Pelosi's going there in the first place, or why it's a big deal. I'm probably not going to get this all exactly right. I'm sure you can go watch some historian explain it to you in better terms. But essentially, Taiwan, a little island off of mainland China, China has basically claimed the island, right? Some Taiwanese officials and Taiwanese people want independence and have been fighting for independence. Here in the U.S., we actually don't identify. We don't recognize Taiwan as an independent country. Most countries don't. There's only about, I believe, a dozen or so countries in the world that recognize Taiwan as an independent country. And that's basically just because, look, China's got more leverage than Taiwan right now. China's our biggest trade partner. So if China's saying, hey, this is our island, we're sitting here saying, yeah, sure, that's your island. We're not gonna tell you, no, that's not yours. Like, we want to be friends with you. But what's happened over time, what's happened especially over the last 25 years, is Taiwan has become the world leader, yes, including against China, in producing and manufacturing semiconductors. So even the U.S. semiconductor companies, right, your AMDs, your NVIDIAs, rely on Taiwan, particularly Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM, the biggest semiconductor manufacturing company in the world. We rely on Taiwan for that manufacturing. So essentially, NVIDIA will design a new chip, send it to Taiwan to be produced, because they are so far ahead of everyone else. It's cheaper to do it there. It's quicker to do it there. And so we are basically, as we're trying to bolster up our independence, part of that is being able to manufacture some of these chips in the U.S. Well, we're going to need Taiwan's help with that. And that's particularly why Pelosi's over there. China does not want us friendly with Taiwan, because that's Taiwan's thing, or that's China's thing. Taiwan is China's island. They don't want us getting in the way of China's relationship with Taiwan. So that's why people care about this so much. Why, from the business standpoint, people are worried, or are caring about this from the semiconductor standpoint. And then why people are worried about it from the geopolitical standpoint, where, potentially could raise some more issues with China. Nicholas, we have not talked about Uber yet today. We shall talk about Uber. Let's just get straight into that real quick. And then I do have a little video we are going to play. So, we've been toying with this kind of internal segment we've been doing, a kind of a joking weather report, where we do look at the stock chart and act like it's essentially the weather screen, and I'm a weatherman doing the weather report. We did one for our internal 9:45 meeting today, because we have a lot of moving parts here at Benzinga, right? You have our licensing team, our events team, our sales team, all these different teams, and not everyone really needs to or is able to be watching the markets on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of times there are things going on in the market that people are talking about that people at Benzinga that aren't working on the content team maybe aren't aware of. So I want to make sure that I'm able to give people just quick updates and say, hey, if you hear people talking about this, here's why. If you hear people talking about that, this is why. So during today, for example, we talked a decent amount about Taiwan just because, look, people are going to be talking about Taiwan. It's important to understand why. It's important to understand why this is important. All right. We're getting ready to play this video. So let's do this. Let's play the little video, and then after that, we'll talk about Uber.
First things first, kicking it over, producer AB for our weather report.
Welcome back, everybody, to Benzinga's weather report, brought to you by AccuWeather. We have the S&P 500 pulled up.
Who's gonna tell him that he's muted? Nope. Gohan, where you at?
We'll start that from the top. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Benzinga's weather report, brought to you by AccuWeather. We have the S&P 500 pulled up on the board right here, and we're going to do something a little bit more interactive this morning. So I have two dates written down here on the S&P 500. First, we have June 16th and then June 28th. I want some guesses in the chat about what these dates are. Let's start with the 16th first. And I can't hear, so Luke, you're going to have to relay people's guesses to me. All right, so we'll skip straight to the 28th. So right now, June 16th, so far has been the bottom in the S&P 500 for the past 3 months. Any guesses on what the 28th was?
Yeah, inflation, rate hike.
The 28th was the last time we did our Benzinga weather report. So you can see we're about right here. So last time we did the weather report, we talked about a plethora, a myriad, if you will, of different storms we were fighting, whether it was inflation, whether it was China lockdown because of COVID, whether it was the war in Russia and Ukraine. And those storms are still very much around, and we have to be aware of them. But a lot of them have, kind of calmed down a little bit. In the inflation front, we've seen gas prices drop down for about the last month and a half straight. So that's giving a lot of investors confidence that maybe we've seen peak inflation, and giving investors confidence that the Fed may be able to limit their rate hikes. But then we do have a potential new storm brewing. You can see the S&P 500. We've gotten a nice little bounce since the 28th. But right here, does anyone have any guesses of what this is up here on our northeast region of the map right here? Taiwan. Who said Taiwan? That was Steve Cross. Good job, Steve Cross. This is Taiwan. This is where the newest storm is potentially brewing. You will see Taiwan more in the news this week. If you're wondering why, just real quick. So Taiwan is where a lot of the world's infrastructure for semiconductors lives. You may have heard more about semiconductors during COVID, but basically these little chips go into everything from cars to washing machines to refrigerators. And China relies a lot on Taiwan for that manufacturing. Taiwan to China is kind of like that girl or boy that you think is cute, but you're probably never going to really date. You're never going to marry them. And now China sees us, sees the U.S., sees Nancy Pelosi trying to buy Taiwan a drink. And they're saying, hold on. That's our girlfriend we're stringing along. We weren't going to marry her, but we still like her. So now China and the U.S. were kind of beefing. So everyone's watching to see if Pelosi visits Taiwan, going to increase tensions between U.S. and China. That is the newest storm coming out of Taiwan. So this week, that will be in the top news, all headlines, and we will keep you in tune of all potential market and weather updates here at Benzinga.
Thank you, producer AB. I see some clapping happening.
All right, so let me know what you guys thought of that. We might do more little segments like that here on the show. I'd love some feedback in the chat. Yeah, Henry, it was kind of a joke. But yeah. And if you guys have any other ideas of little fun segments like that we can do, always drop them in the chat. We are going to toy with some different things here on the show. You might see some different things like that, some different looks. But yeah, just trying to keep you guys keep everything informative while fun and engaging at the same time. The kids clapped. Easy Mike. Love to hear it. Yeah, MD. I think vodka gimlets for sure. I don't even know what exactly is a gimlet. Gimlet is a cocktail made of gin and lime cordial. Description: gin, a spot of. A real gimlet is half gin, half roses, lime juice, and nothing else. I love the roses lime juice. Yeah, we got to do some more AB on the street, MD. Actually, last time we went out to film them, we didn't really get any great clips, so we gotta do that again soon. You did laugh. That's good. So I think I could see gimlets. I could see some sort of martini. I also think like an Aperol spritz. Some Aperol, what is it called? Aperol spritz. I think I could see Nancy Pelosi drinking those too. An Aperol spritz. All right, let's get back to stocks real quick after that weather report. I did say we were going to talk about Uber. I see some folks talking about Snapchat as well. So let's get straight into that. Uber. This stock is one that personally I don't really have a great, I'm not very like bullish or bearish this stock. I think in general, I'm more bearish than bullish on the Uber thing, just because I think with a lot of these gig economy stocks, like their only asset really are those. I mean, think about it. Uber doesn't own cars; they own the technology for the app. So you have drivers that will drive someone for $10. And then Uber takes like 4 of it. The driver only gets 6. Like to me, it's just not a great business model, especially for growth, and especially with the fact that basically since Uber's existence, since like 2008 or wherever it was founded, they've been basically subsidizing these rides to make them cheaper for people to get growth, and they're subsidizing those rides through venture capital money, and as you get that funding dry up, what do you need? You need to raise the prices of rides to help make up for that, and then you're going to see less demand. So I don't know. Like I think over time, Uber is one of those stocks that people wanted to buy because it's like holy shit. It's like how I was talking about Airbnb. It's one of those stocks that truly is able to reshape its industry. Right? Think about the transportation industry. We didn't have Uber 16, 17 years ago. Now it's like one of the most common ways to get somewhere if you're on vacation or whatever. But the stock hasn't really done anything. And why? It's because Easy Mike is saying in the chat, Uber is too many businesses that do not generate profit. So I believe this past quarter was the first quarter ever that was a positive quarter for Uber, but the company's still spending a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, the company right now is valued at $55 billion, but the company has spent over $25 billion. I mean, to me, that's not a great ratio of money you're spending versus how much your company is worth, right? Apple's worth almost, $2.5 trillion. It's not like Apple's spending $1.2 trillion to grow. So I don't know. Uber to me, obviously having a great day, up 17%, good quarter. I think a lot of investors see that quarter as maybe a sign that, okay, maybe we can find profitability at some point. Maybe we can get there at some point. Wait, Easy Mike, I thought Grubhub was the one that has the deal with Amazon Prime. I just signed up for a Grubhub Plus account or whatever through Amazon Prime, which is a great deal. Great for customers if you're a Amazon Prime customer, and now you get Grubhub for free as well. Conference call was great, Nick. Drop some highlights in the chat, or if you wanted to hop on real quick. I know you were just on yesterday, but if you wanted to hop on and share some of the highlights from you, please do. And then just because like I said, I mean, I think just overall I don't love the business model. I think it's somewhat predatory on the workers. And I just don't know long term. I mean, Uber's had a long history of spending a lot of money for growth, getting the growth, and then never really making a lot of money. So, if you were an early investor in this, like the pre-public, you did great. If you're an investor, basically at any point, unless you bought right at the COVID bottoms or you bought here and sold at the top up here, like most people that have bought this on the public markets, most people that have bought this as a stock, have lost money. Yeah, so Jesse Hernandez. So Grubhub and Amazon announced a deal about a couple of weeks ago where if you have a Amazon Prime account, you can sign up for a free Grubhub account. Who else has done? Has Amazon Prime has done this with other companies, right? Or there was some other thing. I think maybe at one point, if you had like a Spotify account, you could sign into Hulu for free or something. So this isn't the first time we've seen one of these partnerships arise where, okay, if you have a membership at this service, then you can use this one for free. But yeah, I've actually, and still it's tough because with the Amazon Prime Grubhub deal, you get the free Grubhub membership, but it's not as if it's cheap or like the same it's not like as if like the delivery is free. You have you still have to pay for things. It's just like you get the free delivery fee. Yeah, Jesse, they made it really easy. I think you just Google like Amazon Prime Grubhub. Yeah, I think that's what it was. You used to get HBO Max also with Prime, and now you don't. That was cool because like they on Prime Video, they'd have HBO. You didn't have to you didn't have to buy HBO. Is that still the case? Can someone in the chat let me know? Because I'm pretty sure I'm paying for both. I'm pretty sure I'm paying right now. Or maybe what it was, MD, was that Amazon Prime used to have some things from HBO, like certain shows and certain movies, but not every single one of them. I don't know exactly. I'm not quite positive. Oh, AT, that video you just watched was in Michigan, by the way. He can't hear me. All right, Nicholas wants to hop on for a second. Great, we only got about 15 minutes, but here, I'll shoot you the link real quick to join in the I'll DM it to you on Twitter. How about that, Nick? So let's see, we talked yeah, MD, do some research for me. Let me know. Am I paying for HBO and Amazon Prime and I don't have to be? Let me know. All right, let's do a quick update. Someone else was asking about Snap. Then I do want to check out some of these crazy runners we've had. We have what is it called? HKD. I mean, holy freaking cow, guys. These are 10-minute candles, up 26%, up 15, up another 8. So you're up like 40% in the last 30 minutes on this. I mean, look, this thing was this thing at 12.20 25 minutes ago was $1,200 a share. Now it's $1,800 a share. So this is what I was saying earlier. Like I'll bet that if something goes up 1,000 or 100%, 100%, I'll bet that it goes up another 100% before I bet that it goes down. This is actually insane. We're getting to like AMC, GameStop level here. What were the other ones we had running today? I just want to do a quick check in on those. APDN up 200% today. This is a monkeypox play. I don't even know what, I mean, like HKD isn't a monkeypox play or anything. It's a, I don't even know. We don't even have what this stock freaking does. I think the numbers that I saw yesterday was that if you would have put 1,000, yeah, you're right. It is so far beyond GME AMC. MD, where's the IPO guy been? Matt Hammond, he's been, you know, I mean, he had, you know, he's been busy with obviously being in Portugal, fleeing Ukraine and whatnot. But I've been in contact with him. I think he said Mondays going forward, which is when he has been coming on, isn't working for him anymore. So we're gonna have to find a different day of the week outside of Mondays to have him on, but that will be the case. I don't know if he was ever talking about HKD. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So HKD on the day is up 147%. On the month is up more than 23,000%. But I think that's from the IPO price of 780. So I think it opened at like, let's see, it looks like basically the cheapest you could have gotten it after it opened was around $15. But if you bought it at $15 and it's now, at 1,800, you've made some good money. So, PGY, I don't know. Like you guys heard me ask David about this. Like, what does this mean to him? Is this indicative of anything to him seeing these runners? Like, to me, that's like, okay, like because I remember this about the market environment of like May 2020 when, a few months after COVID, we had just a crazy stock market where things were going up every day, but no one knew why. You would get these pre-market runners, you'd get these random names that were running 100% for no reason. But David said maybe that's a sign more of a top. I don't know. So I don't know. Like, what do you guys think about it? Do you guys think it's a good sign or a bad sign that you're seeing these stocks we don't know run up so much? And I do see Nick hanging out with us in the background, so let me go ahead and put my headset on. Yeah, again, Lord Byron, you're right. It is way beyond AMC, GameStop. Although I don't know. I mean, GameStop went. You got what is $4 to $4.50 or whatever. I mean, that's a pretty significant gain as well. Let's give Nick our very special guest intro. Mr. Nick, welcome back on the show. Been a long time.
Yeah, it just felt, it's been a crazy day, Aaron. But no, Uber, I was on the conference call and I thought it was pretty upbeat compared to what they said. And if we have time, we'll get to Pinterest because I do have a comment on that. But yeah, Uber I thought, in my opinion, was pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for investors, right, that's been the biggest problem or the biggest knock on Uber has always been, okay, but they're not profitable. And so are investors taking this sign as maybe Uber can get closer, or we are closer to that profitability?
Well, in Q2, they did report they were positive because they did go cash-free positive, I think, by 300 and some million. But specifically on the conference call that caught my attention and just some of the headlines that were flowing in, even though they say that the supply situation continues to improve, number of new driver signups in the U.S. were up 76% year over year. I just see the headline right now. Uber is extending gains up 17.2%. But another thing that made me feel very bullish on this stock that says that recovery is still trailing in a couple of U.S. cities, especially on the West Coast. Expect trends to continue to improve in the second half. That they didn't say anything about the East Coast. So to me, that's saying that recovery is happening in the East Coast. I can see why the West Coast, because of the monkeypox that California just declared. But to me, I feel like Uber, with the free cash flow positive, they beat on the revenue. The guidance, they gave some guidance, and to me, this was an overall good quarter for Uber. We hear from Starbucks tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, I think seeing that positive cash flow is just giving a lot of investors confidence on the Uber front. I think there are going to be a lot of people that are still bearish on the company. Your so-called haters of Uber will still be there to say, okay, but the company's spending this much money, they're burning this much money, they're going for all growth. But yeah, I mean, bottom line, look, if you're an Uber shareholder, you love that report. Like you said, Nick, it sounded a lot more upbeat, and certainly the market is digesting it that way.
Now, regarding tonight with Starbucks, I don't have very good expectations for Starbucks because of the China lockdowns. I'm eager to hear what Starbucks has to say over in China regarding China sales, China stores, what their occupancy they're opening at. Few headlines, few months ago saying that they were back to like 70% occupancy. But we saw a lot. We've seen an evolving situation in China with COVID cases. One day we have COVID cases and next day we don't. So I'm eager to hear with Starbucks tonight to see, and even their US sales to see if more people are going to Starbucks, because there was a New York Times article, there was an opinion piece out this morning when I saw that somebody says that work from home is like falling apart. Everybody that they know is back to the office. And so I know when I was in New York City, I was right by a Starbucks. There was Starbucks in downtown around me. And the flow of traffic was just so amazing to see how many people in and out, no matter the time of day, coming with Starbucks. If it was a sandwich, if it was coffee, whatever it was. I think US sales are going to be, I think they're going to be fairly okay, but I'm eager to hear if they give guidance into seeing what happens over in China.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, like looking at a company like Starbucks, whose stock is still down. Let's see. Let me do some quick math here. Starbucks' stock is still down. Give me 1 second. From its peak in July 2021, you're still down more than 30%. So even with this recent little bounce in the stock from 71 to 85, that's a nice little 18% increase. The stock is still trading down a decent amount, 32%. That's nothing to sneeze at. And Nick, like you're saying, you have these different potential problems, whether you're talking about, increased labor costs, inflation, China being locked down. What do you think Starbucks can say this afternoon that either drives the stock higher or vice versa and brings the stock even lower?
Well, I think if they don't give the guidance, I think guidance is going to be key of where we're involving in this economy. And we've seen so many CEOs and CIOs and CFOs just basically all say the same comment in a different way. I think guidance is going to be key for number one. And two, I think they have to give an upbeat sales. I think they should give guidance on China, some kind of guidance. I don't know how far they should go with guidance, just something that would give investors and traders and people some leeway, some I don't want to say cautious, but a good feeling that Starbucks is going to be better once China is fully opened. And then again, with same store sales here in the US, I'm eager to hear if they give guidance for the United States. I think they should give guidance overall, because we've seen if you beat or miss top and bottom line, but you don't give the guidance, you kind of miss either way. But I really think guidance is key, because we want to see how year-over-year numbers. I think year-over-year numbers could be somewhat important in this case for China, especially for China. I feel like those are going to be lower. I could be wrong, but with China being locked down, I'm not really sure if you could do the Starbucks, like, DoorDash Starbucks. I don't know if that's an option, but if it is an option, then I think there's some readiness that there is some optimistic there. But I really think guidance is key, and to get investors steady and really say that Starbucks is doing okay in this environment. What's going to happen? Are they laying off employees? Probably not, but who knows? Anything is possible in an earnings release.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the China, I don't know, honestly. I can't remember. I mean, I think China was pretty locked down still July of last year, July 2021. So maybe there's not a huge dip year over year in China. But certainly, I mean, Starbucks is one of those American companies, kind of like Tesla, that does rely a lot, Apple too, on sales in China. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Starbucks to me is one of those companies that I'm pretty confident in, Nick, that in, 10, 20 years, when we're in our 30s and 40s, Starbucks will still be around, right?
Oh, no kidding. I mean, especially if back to the office is going to be required and many people are going back to the office. I really think that it's going to be the grab and go. You go up to the drive-thru, go get your Starbucks, and you're done, and you're on your way to work. I think that with the New York Times article, I think that's some bullish sign that the economy is coming back and more people are going back into the office.
Which New York Times article are you referencing? Sorry.
This was a New York Times article this morning. I'll have to see if I can send you it, but there was one that was something about back to the office, that it's basically falling apart. And the one quote that caught my attention is, everybody I know in my company is back in the office.
Yeah. And I think one thing, interestingly, I guess from the macroeconomic standpoint, is if you've been following all these different numbers, one thing that we've seen, or at least we're seeing kind of in real time, is that even though unemployment numbers are going down and jobs numbers are going up, that like total output is kind of remaining level, and that productivity might be decreasing a tiny bit, or at least like has been over the past like year and a half or so. And that the potential, remote work versus office work versus all these companies changing that maybe that's playing into part of this drop in productivity.
It could be, but we did get some good news this morning from the job openings and labor turnover survey this morning. The JOLTS, they were expecting 11 million. It came in around 10.7 million. So that was over 300,000 openings that I guess were taken because it came in better than expected. And so I think we're all waiting for the jobs report on Friday to see. I think Goldman has an estimate, 275, I think is the estimate they're forecasting. I've seen an estimate for 250. Unemployment rate to stay unchanged at 3.6%. And that 3.6% is key because we have not seen that number budge. I think 4 or 5 months, it's been relatively 3.6%. So I think we're waiting for that. We had Fed Evans on the table, either 50 or 75. He's not going 100. But again, we have the Jackson Hole event. They skip August and we go to September FOMC. But we get a long list of data before the Fed and before the FOMC meets again in September, which means people are already talking about them cutting rates. I mean, come on now. They didn't get inflation under control yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. Real quick, Nick, because we only got 2 minutes here. Have you been following any of these crazy runners we've been having the past couple days?
So I was trying to get into this news this morning. Dominic Chu on CNBC, as soon as you guys tweeted out that Hong Kong stocks, it was up like 400 and some percent this morning. I don't know what the deal was on that. And I was trying to see if there was any specific news. I didn't see any specific news. I just think markets right now are rattled because Pelosi's over in Taiwan. And I don't want to say it was expected, but I also don't want to say it wasn't unexpected because the Financial Times reported she's the first one to go over to Taiwan since 1997.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that's why I think a lot of people are maybe unaware or unfamiliar with like the geopolitical situation with the U.S. and Taiwan. But yeah, I mean we don't necessarily recognize Taiwan as a state, and so this is seemingly at least ceremonial sign that maybe we are getting closer to that.
Maybe tensions, who knows if we're going to be able to come to grips with different things. I think it's going to be worth a take to see where she goes. She's supposed to be meeting with the Taiwan president. We'll see how that goes. And China they didn't shoot her down. So there was some good news there. So she made it safely, but it's a lot to evolve this week and next week for sure.
Got it. All right, Nick. Well, I appreciate you hopping on short notice today. I appreciate you hanging out in the comments. Did you watch that little weather report segment that we did? Did you like that?
I did. I commented when you says what was the June, what was the first mark in June? I commented at the bottom and I got it right, of course.
That was it. Yeah, when we were doing it with our company, there were some other guesses. And, some people said like, oh, when the Fed released this, I was like, I don't know, maybe that date could have coincided with that. But I was just talking about the bottom. And you could see it right there on the chart. I thought it'd be an easy one. But then, yeah, the next date after that was the first day we did the report with the company. So I just wanted to show people for perspective, this is where we were last time we talked. Here's where we're at now. Things aren't so bad anymore.
Yep. But no, thanks for having me once again on short-term notice. Love doing these.
Of course. We'll have you on again soon.
Thanks.
No problem. All right, guys, that was news by Nick. Let me go ahead and drop his Twitter in the chat. Gotta give him a follow on Twitter if you want to stay in tune with what's going on with the markets on a day-to-day basis. Really one of my favorite follows in terms of who to follow if you want to know what's going on in the stock market. Of course, with Benzinga and myself and some other people. But all right, guys, that will be a wrap for the show today. It is past 1 p.m. Eastern time, which means we are finished with Benzinga Live. I'm going to turn it over to Money Mitch. Money Mitch will take care of y'all. He's got a packed show today. He's going to be talking about some of the big earnings coming up this week, as well as speaking to Ben Silverman, the director of research at Verity Data. So he's gonna be talking to some a data guy. Always good to get more data. You need information. You need numbers to help you make decisions. So that's what Mitch is going to be doing right up next. He's also going to be talking about HKD and a bunch of those movers. So do not go anywhere. This stream will automatically redirect you. We'll see y'all tomorrow.